Hello, this is Coach Anjalon, and I'm coming on for Parent to Parent. I wanted to just come on and just talk about teaching our children how to be good judges of character. First off, it's just a lot going on right now, but when we think about friends, we tend to tell them, oh, they ain't your friends, or I'm not your little friend, or be careful who you call your friends, or we put it on them that that's your friend, that's my friend. And then we do something that kind of contradicts that, or something contradicts that, is that really my friend? But you keep putting me with them and having play dates with them, and they're not nice to me, they're mean to me, or whatever. I'll tell you one thing. I know when one of my children were younger and they were in school, and I remember being cool with their mother, and I was like, oh yes, yeah, me and the mother is cool, so we were like, let's do play dates with them and everything like that. Well, sometimes you say that and you have good intentions, but it didn't really happen. So just when I thought we were going to be able to match our schedules, make a play date, I remember my child saying to me, they're not my friend. Like, they're mean to me at school. They push me down at recess. They write on my paper. They draw on my homework. Like, when I turn it in, they talk about my paintings in art class. They push me on the playground. They pull the chair from under me in the room. And all the stuff that was being said to me, I was like, I didn't even know. Like, I didn't even know. I'm so sorry. So I had to apologize to my child. Like, man, I didn't know you were being tormented like this with this person that I was about to make some play dates with because I was cool with the parent. So, but I did commend my child because I was like, I'm glad that you recognize that that's not your friend and that they were not being nice to you. I said, and make sure that you continue to do that. Like, if someone is not being nice to you or someone's being mean to you and they're not treating you well, they are not your true friend. And they don't apologize, or they don't take accountability, or they don't try to change nothing when you tell them to stop. They are not your friend. And I think the same is true up until adulthood. If someone is not treating you right, and that's your spouse, partner, friend, co-worker, acquaintance, whoever, and they are not reciprocating, you look out for them, they're not looking out for you, or you invite them to things, they're not inviting you, or they leave you out, or they talk about you behind your back, or they report you at work or for something, or they try to take the job that you want, or they may say, oh yes, I'm gonna hook you up with this person, and then they end up trying to get with that person, things like that. You learn that through time, you learn that through experience, but that's how you learn like their character too. You just watch. Sometimes it's good to be that observant friend, and I've always been like a quiet friend, kind of like lay low. It's like, okay, me, you can talk one-on-one, but when we're around other people, are you still treating me nicely? Are we still, on the same page? Or am I having to prove myself, or that I'm worthy to be in the friendship group, and you're not standing up for me when I'm not around, or you're piggybacking on negative things that other people are saying about me, or you're believing negative things that people are saying about me and you're not talking to me about it. Like, there have been instances where somebody might have said something negative about a friend of mine or something like that, but because I know that person for myself and I never been treated that way, I can attest to either, yes, that's their character, or, oh, I didn't know that about them. Okay, I need to be cautious. I had it brought to my attention recently that a really good friend of mine, something that they did way back, like in the teen years, that just sounds way out of character for her. But at the same time, when the person that brought this to me is, is close to me as well. So it's kind of like, I have to take that with a grain of salt. But at the same time, I met my really good friend after this incident, and I've never seen her act or do any of these things in that character. So it really helped me to put it into perspective. I haven't changed my mind about that friend or anything like that. And I just take it as, we are human beings. We're going to change. We're not going to stay the same. Hopefully you grow and you learn and you change with your experiences, with things that happen to you, and just with wanting to be a better person. And so I think that helped me to put things in a perspective where it's like I could hear that information, but at the same time, I've heard enough. Like, that's not the person I know. That's not the person. I've never heard that ever before, that they're doing that now. So hopefully they've changed and they learned from that and grew from that and learned that that's not the kind of person they want to be known as. And so, the same with me. If I ever did anything to anyone, I would hope that my friends now would be able to look back and be like, or even ask me like, did you do this? Or if they heard that I did it and they just know me now, like, that's not her character. She's not like that. Be a good judge of character. I teach my kids that. I taught my kids that. And like I said, just knowing that my child at a young age was able to recognize that. And I still continue to think that my kids are really a good judge of character. Sometimes even with them, being adults, and like they'll tell me about, oh, this person at work, we have this in common, that in common. We had a good shift. We talked about this, that. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, okay, so this may be a new friendship buddy. But they clearly let me know, like, no, Mom, they're just a cool person to work with. And I'm like, good, because my father, your granddaddy, my father always taught me that you go to work to work. You don't go to work to make friends. And so if you were a coworker of mine, of course, I'm going to have coworkers who I'm closer to, who I talk to, who I'm drawn to, who I feel like we on the same page. We're getting it. We're good with working together and helping each other on a project or running a meeting or paperwork or whatever, or servicing a student, whatever. But as far as translating outside of work, it's been very few, and I do that purposely because I want to make sure I continue to have a good working relationship, one, and I don't want to blur the lines, because blurring the lines can get kind of messy, because just like you have church hurt, there's work hurt, where you get kind of like coworkers you thought you were friends with, and then come to find out you're not friends with them. But then I also too want to be in a space where we can work together, because we haven't had those experiences where we've blurred the lines, and we're able to keep a clear boundary. Work friends, working relationship, and then my personal friends and relationships are separate and different. And I think that's beautiful, because then you always have options. You always have the option, and you always can, you don't have to, it's not really, I think it can be sometimes misunderstood as masking yourself or not being able to be yourself. But no, you don't want to be on all the time. I don't want to be on all the time. I don't want to always, you trauma dump on me, or you're always telling me everything that you did in your business, and you ask me. I don't want to be asked about all my personal business in every space I'm in. That's not what I want to do. And so for people like me, where I'm introvert, extrovert. So I'm introvert, as I'm not going to outwardly go seek people and try to be all, rah-rah of the party. But I am an extrovert in my small friend group. And I am willing to share some things and talk my friends' ears off and things like that. I love connecting with my friends, and I know I have true friends when they show up for me over and over again, and I can do the same for them. So that is important to me, to make sure that I'm being a good judge of character, teaching that to my kids, reinforcing that to my kids as and I call them kids, but they're adults now. And me and my husband talk about this all the time, like just being a good judge of character, and how we had to learn along the way, like different people who just aren't for us. And sometimes it's not that person has a bad character, but it's just our season has ran out, and maybe our course, we've gone down different paths. Not that they're a bad person. So it doesn't mean cut off people who who are good, and then to say it's because of their character. Maybe it's just they have different interests. You may be on different paths and different directions of life, and that's okay. It's okay. Accept people for where they are, and they should accept you for where you are. And I think as long as you do that, you can weather any storm. And even like my last quick example is just like when you are as you are adulting and you end up having friends as a young adult, you go from like you're all single to like someone's in a relationship now someone's getting married, now someone's having a baby, now someone is, they're living abroad, now someone is traveling, now someone is having to take care of a sick sibling or a sick spouse, or maybe a sick parent. Now this person is working and doing this job instead of doing that job, so it takes up more of their time, and they travel for work and all this kind of stuff. And just if you're a real friend to that person, if they're a real friend to you, they will accept those seasons. You will accept those seasons. And it's okay, because when you're an adult, you got so many other things to do on a daily basis. You don't have time to chase after friends. And the same should be true for them. Like, you shouldn't be your friend's only outlet. So taking that tip in mind, putting that in the back of your mind when you are out here adulting as young people, and even as older people who are trying to develop and cultivate new friendships and new adult relationships. Just keep that in mind. As always, be resilient like the lotus. Peace.